Welcome everyone. Today I want to talk about how we can teach our players to be more creative in the final third and how we can get essentially more goals. So this is going to be a pretty long video, I think, but if you stick by it, I'm going to go through each progression. So I'm going to assume that your players are brand new to soccer and are maybe not even understanding their positions. So maybe that's like U7s. And then we're going to go all the way up to the most advanced version of it, which could be U11s, U12s, even U15, 16. So let's get started. This is going to be the last progression, what you see here. So as you can see, we're in a 4v2, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but I want to go back, like I said, into kind of that first progression of it, or, well, I guess before that progression even starts. So I'm going to take all those players over here, and essentially we're going to be making two lines of three players with in each line, and we'll put the balls all over on this side so each player will have the ball. So the first important part is what we call advice. And within a piece of advice, we ask our players for two pieces of communication. One is ball back and two is switch. So when this player will make a pass to the top player, they're going to give that player a piece of advice. So it's the same thing as communication, but the reason we use advice is just because I'm helping this player, right? So I'm giving them advice, right? They don't have to do what I tell them, but I'm offering them a piece of advice, okay? So the two pieces of advice that we use are ball back and switch. So I will make the pass, and as the green player over here makes the pass, they will say maybe switch, which will pass the ball to this player, or they will say ball back, right? And this will essentially teach your players how to interact with each other on the field as they receive the ball. The next piece of advice is probably the most important one in this game, and it's just using the word up. So before we say ball back or switch, I'm going to say up. And what up is going to do is it's going to tell this player that I want to move up into that final third. And then with that second piece of advice, I might say switch or again ball back, and that's going to give me that piece of advice to move the ball there. And then we're going to ask our players to either pass or shoot or pass back, whatever you decide. Okay, and then these players will go to the end of the line, and the next players will go. So here we want our players to be creative, but the most important thing that we're asking each one of these players is that piece of advice, because that's going to be vital in our next progression. So that next progression now is going to look like this. We're going to have four players on the outside, and then we're going to have one goalkeeper, and then we're going to have two players in the middle. So this is a 4v2, as you can see here. And this is very realistic because I don't care where you're playing, what level, how many players on the field, this is going to be something that looks familiar to the players. So for example, if we play a 2-1-1 with our U7s and U8s, we will have two defenders, one midfield, one forward. If I play 7v7, I will have two defenders, one midfield and two wingers and one forward. So it's a 2-3-1. And then with my my 9v9, so the older ones, I will play a 4-3-1. And then obviously with the 11v11, the oldest age group, this can be your 7 and 11, and this could be your 9 and 6. So this could be from a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, right? This would be your 3-1. So it could be a lot of different, even a 3-5-2, right? So it could really be anything. So that's why this works really well for all age groups. So the idea here is, again, we're going to be playing a 4v2, and we're going to be asking our players for two rules. First one is the offensive players must give advice. So as they pass the ball, they must give advice, and this is just going to get your players used to that movement when the ball gets to them. And again, our goal is to as fast as we can, right? When we see that opportunity, we're going to say up and then switch, right? Or ball back, and then these players will move. So we're essentially repeating this over and over again so the players understand their role with the game, right? So as soon as they get that ball up to the 9, they'll make that run up. If they say up, if not, maybe they'll just support, okay? So that's really important. The next and probably most important rule here, I'm going to change this to a coach, is that we like to ask our players our goalkeeper to rush. And that is so important in this 4v2 because if you don't, and this player says up, right, this player can just turn every time and take a shot. So that's not realistic in the game because maybe we're playing a team that is playing 3-back, right, a 3-2-1. So that's not realistic. So the way we take that away is by allowing our goalkeeper to rush, which now forces our 9 to have to look behind them before they turn. Okay, so that's really important. The next piece of information that's probably even more crucial than all of this is your coaching points. So something that I see a lot of coaches using and something that I'm guilty of as well is the word, is that we use the word unlucky. And unlucky doesn't mean anything. And again, I'm guilty of it. A lot of coaches are. But I urge you to use this phrase over here instead. And it's, I like your attitude. Okay? Especially with the younger kids, because what you'll find is that when they make a decision, their technique might not be there yet because they're 7 years old. But they made a really good decision. It just didn't get there. Maybe the shot was wide, maybe it was a bad pass, but their attitude, their decision was good. So you're encouraging the decision while not discouraging them to make a mistake, right? Because if you're coaching them in shooting, then their shooting should improve. If your passing is improving, their 1v1 skills, if all those things are improving week to week, then those should get better. But what we're coaching here is the decision making, right? The next thing that we talk about is being creative. So what I want to tell my players is that when they get the ball, they have 3 options. The first option is they can pass. The second option, if they see a shooting lane, is a shot. And the third option is a 1v1. So I want them to be creative and make a decision, right? So one of those 3 decisions, I tell them at the beginning, I don't care what that decision is. I just want you to be creative with it. Okay, so give me one of those 3 options. And then within 2 to 3 rounds, I'll add that it has to be quick. So I'll say that you have to make a decision within the first or second touch, okay? And what that decision is, again, it's up to the players. If they want to shoot within 1 touch, fine. If they want to pass within 1 touch, that's fine. If they want to pass within 2, if they want to shoot within 2, if they want to take a touch and then do a move, that's fine. So again, we're giving the decisions up to the players, but what we're asking them is to be creative to get to that final third. And the most important thing that we're doing here is we're creating a game-like environment where there's repetition in getting from the middle third to the final third. How do we get there? Well, if someone says up, ball back, then I got to make that run there, right? And this can be defenders, right, as well. Okay, we can get rid of those. We could put those here. So we're playing against a 2, right? 2-2, right? Just like that. Maybe it's a 4-4-2 that we're playing against. So this could be our 4 here, right? And then when we say ball back, we're making that run over here. So we're just being creative, showing these players that repetition of how to get into that final third. I'm going to be making a lot more videos of what we do at our sessions. So please subscribe. Please put down a like. What things do you do to get your players to be creative in the final third? I'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.